Hi Zoology, this is your first set of notes that we have. And this first set of notes is actually going to be pretty super simple. It's just a little review of some biology terms and concepts that you should have learned, but I know it's been a hot minute since we've taken bio, maybe it's been a few years, so I'd rather us get some basics down, make sure that everyone's on the same page before we move forward. So first we're going to talk about the term that I'm going to be throwing out a lot during our zoology classes, and that's the term organism. So organism is the characteristic of life of something that can do all the processes of life. So it can eat, it can reproduce, it can not necessarily move, not everything has to move, but all those natural processes that make life, that is an organism, and we're going to be using that term a lot. There are two different types of organisms. We can have a unicellular organism or a multicellular organism. Uni means one-celled and multi means multiple-celled. So we're mostly going to be dealing with multi-celled organisms. That's what animals are. There's very few multicellular or unicellular organisms out there, so no worries there. The process called homeostasis, hopefully you remember that word from way back in the day. Homeostasis is making sure we maintain balance inside our bodies, but also inside those cells itself. Part of that homeostasis is to just kind of make sure our water, most of what we're going to be looking at has to do with water and nutrients. So balancing out how much salt and as much water you have inside your body. That's what we're going to be diving into. All of the organisms that we're going to look at all reproduce. They have to in order to be considered alive, as they have to have that ability to reproduce. However, they do this two different ways. So we can have what's known as asexual reproduction, which is where you do not have a partner and you split and make an identical copy of yourself. That's really, really, really important, is that you remember that they are identical copies. So asexual reproduction is without a partner. Sexual reproduction is with a partner, where sperm meets egg, makes baby. That process of sperm meeting egg is called fertilization, and that is, a lot of what we're going to talk about. There are two different types of fertilization as well. There's internal fertilization and external fertilization. Internal is when, sperm has to go inside, and external is when they're just released usually in water. A lot of what we're going to talk about too has to do with evolution. So evolution, we're going to have a whole nother set of notes just on evolution, but know that it is a change in time, or change in an organism over time. And we're going to talk about how that happens when we do our evolution talks. The big difference between animals, plants, fungi, all those other things, protists, the biggest difference is that animals are heterotrophs, which means that they cannot make their own food, and they get their food by eating or consuming other organisms. Ingesting, they actually have to ingest it. Fungus, they just kind of absorb decomposing material, but heterotrophs actually have to consume it in order to get that material. Two last things, and then we are actually done with our notes. I want to talk about this word called symbiosis. So symbiosis is when you have a relationship between different species of organisms. Now, whether that relationship is good or bad really depends on it, but symbiosis just means relationship. Mutual symbiosis is when both organisms benefit. There's another type of symbiosis called commensalism, and that is when one benefits, but the other one isn't harmed at all. Kind of like birds that pick up after cows have walked through pastures. The cows build up all this dirt, move it all around when they walk through, and birds just come and pick up all the goodies afterwards, like all the bugs that get pulled up. Doesn't hurt the cow, doesn't even bother it at all, but the birds get that benefit. There is also one called parasitism, and parasitism is when an organism is hurt and the other one gets a positive impact. So think like tapeworms, ticks. Those are all the ones I can think of off the top of my head right now. But tapeworms live inside and consume and eat the nutrients inside organisms. Ticks live off, make you hurt, gives you diseases. All bad stuff for the host, but really great stuff for the parasite. And we're going to learn a lot about parasites in this class. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I really hope that you guys have a wonderful time. Make sure that these notes get put into your notebook, whether that's a digital notebook or an actual notebook. And I hope that we have a really fun time. Bye.